It's Monday, August 11th, 2025. Good evening and welcome to the daily happenings inside our federal machine. This is Spathon and it's time to plunge into the swamp to see what happened today. The word of the day is crime fighter. And yes, I checked. According to Google, that is a word. So President Trump made the big announcement today that the Washington Police Department will be taken over by the federal government under the control of Attorney General Pam Bondi. The National Guard will also be deployed if and when needed. Of course, the FBI and DEA and other federal enforcement agencies will assist in cracking down on DC crime. By the way, we'll have a look at some of the DC crime numbers because Democrats, they claim that crime in DC is down, even way down, which it very well could be, but we'll check that out. Also, we'll take a look at some of President Trump's press conference today, which, according to him, had the largest attendance of journalists he had ever seen. We'll also take a look at how the Democrats are handling the news that the Trump administration will start cracking down on DC crime. President Trump also made a remark regarding the Ukraine war, claiming that Russian tanks decided to invade through farmland and not down the highways. There's some pushback on that with some video footage, and we'll take a look at that. And also Governor Newsome of California, he's all pissy about Texas Republicans taking a stand against the gerrymandering that Democrats have been gaming in the blue states. And there's lots more to dig through, so we're just going to dive right in. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I might just read your comment on the next episode if you decide to drop one. So this first one comes from Secretary Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you, President Trump, the patriotic men and women of IceGov and CBP. They've been deployed to help clean up the streets of our nation's capital, make America safe again. And this is in response to Donald J. Trump's True Social post. Washington, D.C. will be liberated today. Crime, savagery, filth, and scum will disappear. I will make our capital great again. The days of ruthlessly killing or hurting innocent people are over. I quickly fixed the border. 0 illegals in the last 3 months. DC is next. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President DJT. So we're going to do something a little different on this episode. I'm going to start from this point of my list and I'm going to work upwards because a lot was happening. It was all kind of in chronological order. So as I was following everything today with the big announcements in Washington, D.C., I was bookmarking as things went on today, so I can't change my format of bookmarks. I wish I could invert the list, but I can't. So I kind of have to start from this point and work up. And then near the end of the episode, I'll check back down here to Homeland Security and down from there because I have a few other ones to go over. So, oh yeah, and by the way, I finally decided to just pull the trigger and get a new microphone, like no puns or anything like that. I don't know why I went with that one, but anyway, yeah, I got a new mic. It was supposed to be here at 5 o'clock. It didn't show up. I was hoping to do this episode with my new microphone because I keep hearing this faint popping sound, and I don't think it has anything to do with my microphone levels. I've already done that. I've already checked the cables. I've checked pretty much everything. And I'm at the point now where I think it's just the microphone. Even though it's a new microphone, it wasn't a cheap one. It was one of the nicer ones available online. So I don't know what's up with that. It's really irritating, but I have a new one. So tomorrow I'll be doing the next episode with a new mic. Hopefully there won't be any issues with that, with any weird crackling sounds. When I listen to it through speakers, I don't hear it. It's when I'm listening to it with my earbuds. And it's kind of driving me crazy. Hopefully I'm the only one noticing it. But anyway, yeah, so if you hear that occasionally, like just a single little crackle, just occasionally, it's like every so often, you might hear like a faint pop. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know, like I was reading online, apparently there might be something wrong with the internals of the microphone. I didn't drop it. Maybe it was damaged during shipping. I have no idea. But I got this microphone like 6 months ago because I plan on starting this series. And yeah, just life got in the way. And now I'm in a situation where I can start it and do it every day. But when I first got the microphone, I wasn't quite ready to roll it out just yet. So I can't return it. So I'm stuck with it. So I don't know. Either way, hopefully the new microphone will work. But anyway, let's get straight here to DEA HQ. This was just 5 hours ago. This past weekend, DEA joined local and federal partners to strengthen public safety on the streets of the nation's capital. DEA, Washington Division, and DC Police Department, FBI, ATF headquarters, U.S. Marshals, and U.S. Park Police, which, by the way, the Park Police, they're the ones that have authority over our national monuments and federal lands and things like that. So if you ever see law enforcement when you're out at, I don't know, the National Mall or any of the monuments and all that good fun stuff, they're the guys that patrol that, which I believe they are the oldest federal police force, founded in like the 1790s under George Washington. I actually learned that during the press conference today, as a matter of fact. So you probably did too if you listened to it. All right, so this is from the White House. Make D.C. safe again. President Donald Trump signs an executive order to make D.C. safe again, and we're going to check that out here in just a minute. Congressman William Timmons, Democrats like Jeffries would rather preserve dangerous cities than admit their policies fail, and that's in response to Hakeem Jeffries. Violent crime in Washington, D.C. is at a 30-year low. See, he's the first one of a number of examples I have for you. There's quite a few Democrats that are echoing the same thing. Donald Trump has no basis to take over the local police department and zero credibility on the issue of law and order, which is hilarious because the White House press corps, there was at least one, and I'm sure there were way more than just one. Actually, somebody on the stage actually gave some examples. There was some intern that was working for, Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul. He was, I think that he said he was stabbed. There was another journalist recently that was shot. Rampant crime. You can't argue it. Plus, historically, Washington, D.C., it might be down. We're going to look into it again. Like I said, we're going to look into the numbers. However, it doesn't mean that crime is low. It just means it's at a 30-year low, if that's even true. I don't know, man. It's hard to trust Democrats these days, but we'll check it out here in a minute. But the 2024 murder rate per 100,000 for Washington, D.C., well, at least take a look at this from Chairwoman Lisa McClain. Our nation's capital should be the safest place on earth, but Democrats have turned it into a violent nightmare. POTUS is restoring law and order to our great nation. So, again, 2024 murder rate per 100,000 people, Washington, D.C. is higher than Bogota, Colombia. Yeah, let that sink in. Higher than Mexico City, Islamabad, Lima, Peru, Ottawa, which I think that's kind of hilarious that they put Ottawa on there. I'm like, yeah, really, Canada? Do they even know what crime even means in Canada? Of course they do. I'm just fucking around. All right, so Paris and Havana, Cuba. That's crazy. Damn, dude. Crime in Havana is like crazy low. It's a lot safer than I would have expected. Same with Delhi and India, London, England, Madrid, Spain. I mean, like Washington, D.C. is beating out all of them, which, of course, these are all capital cities. I mean, I know why Ottawa's there. I mean, they're all capital cities. I get it. It's just, I just thought that was just kind of funny. It's like, what? Canada? But anyway, yeah, even worse than Bogota. That kind of blew my mind. No, look at this. Almost twice as bad as Bogota. Bogota is only about half as bad as Washington, D.C. in terms of the murder rate. Just absolutely mind-boggling. Because Bogota, Colombia, it's always been this huge hard drug city and cartels and gangs. And although, to be fair, I will be fair to Bogota. Apparently, it's gotten way better in recent years, like in the last 10, 15 years. Apparently, Colombia is like a very different place than where it was probably back in the 2000s and maybe even prior to that. So anyway, let's go up here. We may take a look at this. Actually, I will take a look at this. It's the entire press conference, if I'm not mistaken. And it went on for, I'd say, probably the better part of an hour, maybe a little bit over. He took questions. President Trump took questions for at least a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. He did talk a lot, though, in between questions. In total, he might have taken like 6, 7 questions, but he spent like 10 minutes answering each question. He was really in a talkative mood today. So this is from Secretary Lori Chavez de Remer. She's the 30th U.S. Secretary of Labor serving under President Trump. Crime in D.C. is out of control, putting American workers and businesses in harm's way. I applaud the president for taking action to secure our capital and make D.C. safe again. And let's see, our nation's capital is more dangerous than third world countries. This is from Tom Cotton, Senator Tom Cotton. I applaud President Trump for making D.C. safer for the thousands of Arkansans and millions of Americans who visit Washington every year. So I wonder if I should stop where I'm at now. Yeah. We'll go ahead and just play this while I got it in front of me, and then we'll get into the press conference and we'll check out some of that. So let me just adjust the volume here just a tad, make sure I got everything right. Yeah, I think I'm good to go. Let's brace for eardrum.
Well, I'm glad to hear Mayor Bowser realizes that crime is out of control in Washington, D.C. It's more dangerous in our nation's capital than it is in the capitals of many third world countries. I unfortunately have had congressional staff and interns
in Washington
They're shopping. Who themselves have been victimized by
They're shopping for free.
a couple times a year when I do onboard briefings for my interns. I have to regrettably explain to them that it's a dangerous city. And
damn, dude, he's walking out with the fucking computer. Or no, the cash register.
Probably travel with other people as well.
It's like, fuck the snacks.
So President Trump is right that we have to get crime under control.
Going after that fucking register.
Washington, D.C. is not
like some American History X shit going on there.
The federal city is our nation's capital. That's why our founding fathers gave the federal government exclusive control over this city. And President Trump, I think, is rightly going to use the National Guard, the FBI, the DEA, the Park Police, and other federal law
he federalized the city,
to augment the D.C. police to get crime under control so it's once again safe for thousands of Arkansans and millions of Americans.
He is dragging the sledgehammer out of the tool shed. And it's, let's see, I can't remember what it's, oh, hell, what was it called? Anyway, they're going to mention it. Let me see if I don't know if I skipped over it or not. No, I didn't. It's not mentioned yet, but it'll be mentioned in the press conference. It's like a DC something act. There's a federal act that's already in place, and President Trump is invoking this act to federalize Washington D.C. and hand over the DC police. And I'm telling you, man, like they're going full on. They're going full on, not lockdown, but they're cracking down on crime. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be crazy. So we're gonna skip through all this stuff here. Oh, I went a little bit too far. My bad. All right, let's see if I can get it. All right, here we go. Volume's good. It's down a little bit, but that's okay. I'll adjust it here. Freaking X, man. It won't let me. Come on, let's go. Oh, I was so close. There we go. All right, here we are.
I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this.
Man,
I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom.
Good.
This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room.
Yeah, did you hear that? If that ballroom had already existed in the White House, he'd probably be holding these press conferences in the ballroom. I don't think anybody really thought of that up until today. That, you know what, they could probably get rid of this room or repurpose it for something else, and they could start holding these press briefings in the ballroom because it's going to be way bigger, a lot more room.
And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse.
AG Pam Bondi.
This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is?
Home Rule Act. That's what it's called.
And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that.
Washington, D.C. Police Department is being federally controlled. They are taking over the Washington, D.C. Police Department, effectively taking it away from the mayor. The mayor of Washington, D.C. will no longer have power over the Washington, D.C. Police Department. Not that they were doing anything under her control anyway. They were probably just standing around just letting crime happen.
Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening. They've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety.
The Attorney General of D.C.
in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
District Attorney?
And
I don't know. She's the Attorney of D.C.
Of it too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed.
No.
And you all know people and friends of yours that happened, and so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something.
Well, yeah, think about it. Most of the members of the press that are here, they probably live in D.C. Of course they live in D.C. They have to show up every day for these press briefings. That's their job. That's what they do. So, of course, they're living in D.C. And some of them, yeah, they might live, I don't know, in the DMV area, but I'm sure some of them do live, like, in D.C. where all this shit's happening.
And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia,
crazy,
Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth. Much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years.
They don't mention the car thefts now, did they?
Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged-out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes through our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row, we had zero. I don't know if that's right, but the people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people, actually, and they actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And, you know, when you take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is...
That's D.C.
The red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these.
Yikes.
Baghdad
is...
We doubled up on Baghdad.
So D.C.'s twice
Panama
as bad
City,
as Baghdad.
Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica.
Oh, but crime is down, though,
Bogota,
right, Democrats?
Colombia.
Hey, at least crime's down. It might be twice as bad as fucking
City,
Baghdad.
I mentioned Lima, Peru. All double.
Imagine how bad it was 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
So do you want to live in places like that?
They say it's at a 30-year low.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. D.C., 41 per 100,000. Number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. That where you want to live?
No.
The reporters of the world?
Of course not.
Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse.
Crimes against persons, juveniles.
And we had a recent indication. There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that. But he was asked by the city, I guess, that we don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down. And under Biden, it was a disaster.
That's what they keep saying.
And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago, was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it.
Wow.
She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America. Really, it's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone.
Oh, fuck yeah, they are.
We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose
Baltimore's
our cities.
Baltimore's a wasteland, man.
And this will go further. We're starting very strongly.
Dude, there's YouTube channels. There's YouTube channels of Baltimore body camera channels. The crime is so bad in Baltimore, they've got entire YouTube channels dedicated to it. It's like Baltimore body cam channels.
DC,
crazy.
And we're going to clean it up real quick.
I've seen them.
Very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the Doge staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it.
Yep, I just showed that the other day on this show.
A 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the White House.
Unreal, just to steal a damn car.
We all knew him. Great person. Waiting for his wife.
And the sad and pathetic thing is that he probably just tossed the keys to him and said, take it. And they probably fucking shot him anyway.
As she was walking to the car. A Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth
slumlords too
rampage through city streets at
and also the illegal
all
immigrant
times of the day.
landlords.
There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well.
That's probably for another day.
Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that the Navy Yard.
Yep,
I
Navy
saw it
Yard
this morning.
on Saturday night. I covered that
they
last
fought
night.
back against law. See, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night.
Yeah, that's what a lot of them do. A lot of those teenagers, they'll fight back against them because the cops keep being ordered to stand down and not do anything. It's not just in D.C. It's all in all the major cities, especially when the protests break out, the quote-unquote protests. I mean, come on, let's call it for what it is. They're a bunch of riots. And the police just stand there, just let it all happen. They don't do anything. Business owners standing on the sidelines just like begging the cops to do something, save my business from getting fucking looted, and they don't do anything. They just stand there and they're like, nope, we got orders. We're just following orders. That's all we can do. But yeah, these teenagers, they'll throw shit at cops and then they'll jump on their dirt bikes and take off like cowards.
And they're not going to be fighting back long because I've instructed them and told them whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police as the police are standing up there in uniform. They're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard.
Let's hope so.
It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, for 3-4 years. I've watched them. The police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any search. So and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do
it.
Whatever
Because if
the
a
hell
cop
they
does
want.
something, they'll be
This
fired,
dire
they'll be
public safety
crucified, they'll be
crisis
criminally
stems
charged.
directly from
Whole 9
the
yards.
abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central. No cash.
Yeah, the road to hell is always paved with good intentions.
Cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime.
Yep.
Totally weak on crime. They don't know why. They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute and get rid of some of the other things. And we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority.
Yeah, let's hope so.
We don't have a big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done.
Every single Democrat voted against.
That's ever happened to people in this country.
And they'll vote. Everyone will vote against this too.
Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done. So, Todd, if you and Pam can draw up things working with the people, we will. I'll get it passed. We'll get it passed with the Republicans. Probably won't get. Think of this. Probably won't get one Democrat vote because they have no idea what they're doing. That's why they want men.
No, I think they know exactly what they're doing.
Why they want transgender.
Trying to sow the seeds of chaos.
Everybody transgender.
In the fog of chaos, they can relinquish power, or at least they can brainwash enough
in a landslide
to take power that way.
They haven't changed one thing. I saw the other day certain gentleman who was a very well-known politician, Democrat, was fighting like hell that men should be allowed to play in women's sport. They just don't get it. They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue.
Yeah, it's higher than 80-20.
And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard anybody nobody's ever come up to me, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. You have to do it, sir. Nobody's ever approached me. I don't know where this issue even comes from. Never seen anything like it. But they turned our nation's capital into a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's the other thing. We have to get rid of sanctuary cities as quickly as possible. We're going to do it, too. We have to. Because it's sanctuary for criminals.
Used to happen.
Releasing illegal alien gang members onto the streets. In 2022, nearly 70% of criminals arrested in Washington went unprosecuted. That's not going to happen with the group we have standing aside and standing behind me. And at the Metropolitan Police Department, it's now reached a small number.
But dude, like the whole, isn't it against the law to be harboring an illegal immigrant, somebody who broke federal law by entering the country illegally? I would assume that would be already an existing crime, because it's not an individual that's harboring a criminal. It's the entire city doing so, and I don't know. Look, I'm not the expert. I don't know everything. I just assume that whether it's the Trump administration or the federal government in general, they could withhold federal funding from cities or even entire states. But maybe they can't do that. I don't know. I don't know the details on that. But there's got to be a way to not have to rely on new legislation to put a stop to sanctuary cities. There's got to be something existing that they can do to get rid of it. Although sanctuary cities, they've been around for, 10 years, if not longer than that?
Compared to what it was, but it's thousands of people. You know, we have thousands of police. I was told today, sir, they want more police. I heard a number, 3,500 police. That's a lot of police.
Yeah, that's a lot.
3,500.
It's
I thought they're going to say, we only have 30 policemen or women. They said, we have 3,500. We need more.
Come on.
You don't need more. That's so many. I never heard. That's like an army.
That's more than enough. That's probably too many.
It just happened 2 minutes ago. Sir, they've
Give them nightsticks and let them start cracking skulls.
Oh, what do they have? About
no, they're just teenagers.
I said 3,500.
All right, we'll go crack some parent skulls.
Area. It's ridiculous. What you need is rules and regulations. And
criminally charge the parents. I keep saying that.
We have the right people here, that I can tell you. Look at the
past
border.
Curfew, throw the parents in jail.
Biden said there's nothing you can do. Kamala was the border czar. She never called one of the Border Patrol agents who were great. ICE is great. Never spoke to anybody. Never went there. But she was the border czar.
It's kind of related because I'm sure a lot of criminal illegals are causing a lot of the shit in D.C.
No, really. I fixed it the first week, but really fixed it over the last couple of months. And I mean, literally to a point where, as I said, zero illegals entering our country in the last 90 days.
Yeah, the infrastructure's already there. The law enforcement's there. It's all there.
Action. We're going to do the same thing.
It's just shitty leadership.
It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to just take years, because a lot of people die in years, and we've got incredible people in this country. Except we have to allow them to do their job, and that we will deliver like nobody's ever delivered before. I actually think it's easy. You know, if you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. But I'm very competent. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshals Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some police, and they're rough police.
Oh, yeah, other countries?
They don't have DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, the U.S. Marshals Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security.
Damn straight.
They got some police.
Yeah, they just got local cops.
But they're rough police, and they do their job. They don't have crime. We're not going to have crime
either. They've got batons with notches on them.
They made dozens of arrests, and that's what starts to happen. Again, cashless bail. Watch what we do with that. Today, we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday.
Yeah.
I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was.
That does, man. That does look weak.
That's another part of it, by the way.
That's a good point, man.
Because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful potential.
And you know what? Interesting that he mentioned that. Do you think any other Republican politician, not even George W. Bush, I'm not talking past presidents, but do you think that any Republican career politician who becomes president would be up here on this day cracking down on DC crime, or do you think they would wait a week until after the Putin meeting would happen? I'd make a Vegas bet that it'd be the latter. They would wait until they had the meeting because they don't want any kind of negativity to be in the air before they go and they meet with them. Not that it's really relevant. I mean, like, Putin's not going to have any leverage against Trump because we have a shitty nation's capital riddled with crime. I'm sure that it's common knowledge across the whole world that DC is dangerous because we have world leaders that come here. We have ambassadors, diplomats, all kinds of people come here from all over the world. High-level officials, UN, all of them. They all come here. I mean, I know the UN headquarters, it's in, New York City, I think, or whatever. But, I mean, it's common knowledge. But still, I think that any other person who would have been president, whether if it was Republican or Democrat, if they were going to give this speech, they would have waited until after that meeting.
Capital in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't.
Well, you know, I've only been to DC once in my life. I went in 2015, and it was in the springtime. It was like right around when the cherry blossoms were blooming. I just went up there for a weekend. There was like some run, whatever, some event that goes on there every year. And I was there for that, and it was kind of a lovely visit. I didn't really see any homeless people or any crime unfolding or anything. And I was around where all the monuments and the National Mall and all that. I was around all that for the weekend. Even rode the subway and all that. I didn't really see much really going on in terms of crime. So I don't know if maybe 2015 or the mid-2010s was just kind of a more peaceful period, or maybe not. Maybe I just happened to get lucky. We were coming out of winter time, so maybe that had something to do with it.
We'll have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some designers said, well, we need a 1/4 inch more turn for safety reasons. No, we're going to do it right. We're going to get it done quickly. So today we're declaring public safety emergency in the District of Columbia. And Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's fantastic, is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment.
You hear that?
And I'll be making the appropriate
Pam Bondi, she's assuming control of the Metro Police Department.
To the mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of the top in the country.
Sorry, Mayor.
He better be
Terry.
Terry. You're not going to get rid of you so fast. Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. We just got him. Most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Department.
Oh, okay? So that's who he is.
And you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people.
He's going to be the commissioner of the
that shouldn't be there.
Metro Police.
They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great
woke
police. And those people are the ones that want to help you. This city will no longer be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement. And we'll deploy
the DC Metro Police Union, they're loving this news.
Overwhelming presence.
And I'll
you'll
prove
have
it.
more police, and you'll be so happy. Because you'll be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the streets. You're going to have a lot of essentially military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed.
I'll let him wrap up his speech, and then we'll call it there. I won't stick around for the questions because that goes on for like 40 minutes, I think.
We will bring in the military if needed. People say, "Oh, that's so terrible." He's going to bring in. It's been used many times over the years.
Oh yeah, but look, Democrats are already saying that. They're already saying like, "Oh my God, he's such a draconian president. He's so authoritarian. He's turning us turning DC into a totalitarian wasteland with military control. It's going to be like fucking whatever, like 1984 all over again. Bullshit. But no, like he said, this isn't the first time this has happened where they federalize DC. I mean, hell, they already have an act on the books, for fuck's sakes.
I don't think we'll need it. I think we've got so many great people, including the people that are in the
And see, he's trying not to invoke that act.
They'll immediately begin massive enforcement operations targeting known gangs, drug dealers, and criminal networks to get them the hell off the street, maybe get them out of the country, because a lot of them came into our country illegally. They shouldn't have been allowed in. They come from Venezuela. They come from all over the world. We're going to get them the hell out. They won't be here long. But some of these people, a lot of them are homegrown criminals. And
that's just what they are.
These are bad people. These are rough people. And this is just a list of some of the people that were given to me today that were criminals removed from the D.C. streets this weekend. They were rough.
Just over the weekend.
And tough. But we're rougher and tougher.
Probably thick enough to slam on the podium.
Nothing, you know. They're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people numerous times. They're not going to be an asset. They will never be an asset to society. I don't care. I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be rehabbed. I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to come up and say a couple of words because he's in charge, as you know. He's Interior, but he's in charge.
They need to build that prison that I've mentioned before on Attu Island in Alaska.
They're proud of it.
The largest uninhabited island in the United States. They should build a prison there.
Families oftentimes grow into the roles. They love the country. They love this area. So, Doug, could you say a few words, please?
Okay, so I think we're pretty much good. He's going to have everybody speak one by one. So I'll just cut it there. You can go to the White House, their X profile, and you can check out the whole thing. Of course, it's all over YouTube. It's really easy to find this press conference. You just type in, President Trump press conference, today's date, or Washington, D.C. crime press conference, so on and so forth, August 11th. So we'll just cut it there, and we'll move on because there's some other info to get into. So we did cover that one already from Senator Tom Cotton, and this one comes from DOD Rapid Response, which, of course, there's going to be a few more clips that I'm going to play from this, including this one from Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. And so the Post, it quotes him, so I'm just going to go straight to it. And just
it's an honor to be here. And at your direction this morning,
that sound is not as good.
The D.C. National Guard. It'll be operationalized by the Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll, through the D.C. Guard. You will see them flowing into the streets of Washington in the coming week. At your direction as well, sir, there are other units we are prepared to bring in. Other National Guard units, other specialized units. They will be strong, they will be tough, and they will stand with their law enforcement partners. This is nothing new for DOD. As the President noted, at the border, we've got 10,000 troops down there who've been operating in defense cooperation areas, defense zones, where there's zero illegal crossings because of troops on strikers scanning the border. We've been protecting other people's borders for 20 years. It's about time we protect our own.
Up there in
and we're working with ICE and CBP. In Los Angeles, we did the same thing. Working with the California National Guard, working with ICE officers.
Oh, the Democrats were so pissy about that,
to do their job.
They were so pissed off
and
about
not be attacked.
How dare you clean up our city?
All D.C. police and federal law enforcement to ensure this city is safe, this city is beautiful. And as I always say about President Trump to the troops, he has their back. And my message to the National Guard and federal law enforcement in Washington is we have your back as well. Be tough, be strong. We're right behind you. Thanks, Mr. President.
All right. Hey, let's go, man. Hell yeah. All right. So let's move on up here to this next one from the White House. President Donald J. Trump invokes the D.C. Home Rule Act to place the D.C. Metro Police Department under federal control and deploy the National Guard to make our nation's capital safe again. And this one from Rapid Response 47 in Washington, D.C. Residents react to the violence plaguing their community. This was posted just 10 hours ago. Quote, some shots, some bangs. We've seen police officers running in all directions. It seems to be out of the norm. It's actually pretty scary that these teenagers are in the neighborhood shooting guns. Let's watch this. It's real short.
Some shots, some bangs. We've seen police officers running in all directions.
I almost feel a little desensitized to it in a way because it seems to be of the norm.
It's actually pretty scary that these teenagers own guns and that they are in the neighborhood shooting guns.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, where are they getting all these guns from? Where indeed? So from Caroline Levitt, Trump promises new steps to tackle Washington crime and homelessness. This is from Newsmax. And we'll take a quick look at this. So President Donald Trump promises new steps to tackle homelessness and crime in Washington, prompting the city's mayor to voice concerns about the potential rise of the National Guard to patrol the streets in the nation's capital. Trump wrote in a social media post that he would hold a White House conference on Monday, which we are very well aware of. And then we did read his True Social post last week. The president directed federal law enforcement agencies to increase their presence in Washington for 7 days with the option to extend as needed. Clearly, they're going to. On Friday night, federal agencies, including Secret Service, the FBI, U.S. Marshals Service, assigned more than 120 officers and agents to assist in Washington. And then Trump also said last week he was considering ways for the federal government to seize control of Washington, which he did. And so the moves Trump said he was considering included bringing in the DC National Guard. Mayor Muriel Bowser, who's a Democrat, of course, questioned the effectiveness of using the Guard to enforce city laws and said the federal government could be far more helpful by funding more prosecutors or filling the 15 vacancies on the DC Superior Court, some of which have been open for years. I mean, yeah, she might have a point there. That might be something worth looking at. I think a lot of the fault of this problem in DC doesn't lie with the prosecutors. It lies with the judges, because the judges keep cutting them loose or giving them very little to almost no sentences, just cutting them with probation, even though they were violent crimes. So anyway, Bowser cannot activate the National Guard herself, but she can submit a request to the Pentagon. I just think that's not the most efficient use of our Guard, she said on Sunday on MSNBC's The Weekend, acknowledging the president's call about how to deploy the Guard. Bowser was making her first public comment since Trump started posting about crime in D.C. last week. She noted that violent crime in Washington has decreased since a rise in 2023. Trump's weekend post depicted the district as one of the most dangerous cities anywhere in the world, which it is. For Bowser, any comparison to a war-torn country is hyperbolic and false. Not if the numbers speak for themselves. Police statistics show homicides, robberies, and burglaries are down this year when compared with this time in 2024, but overall, violent crime is also down 26% compared with this time a year ago. Trump offered no details in True Social over the weekend about possible new actions to address crime levels he argues are dangerous for citizens, tourists, and workers alike. The White House declined to offer additional details about Monday's announcement, and the police department and the mayor's office did not respond to questions about what Trump might do next. The president criticized the district as full of tense squalor, filth, and crime. Let's see. Yeah, he also mentioned Doge, Edward Korstein. He was the big balls working with Doge, where he tried to rescue a woman who was being attacked by teenagers, and they beat the crap out of him. So, let's see. He repeatedly suggested that the rule of Washington could be returned to federal authorities, and doing so would require a repeal of the Home Rule Act of 1973 in Congress, a step Trump said lawyers are examining, but it could face steep pushback. Bowser acknowledged that the law allows the president to take more control over the city's police, but only if certain conditions are met. None of those conditions exist in our city right now. Okay. We are not experiencing a spike in crime. In fact, we're watching our crime numbers go down. And like I said, we'll have a look at it. Maybe right now is a good time to do that. So let me just leave it right here. And let's go to right here. So is the overall crime rate in Washington, D.C. down historically? The overall crime rate in D.C. has shown a complex trend over the past few decades with significant fluctuations, but a general downward trajectory in recent years, particularly since the early 90s. And here's an overview. So the historical context from the 1980s through the 2000s, the city experienced high crime rates during the 80s and 90s, driven largely by the crack cocaine epidemic and socioeconomic challenges. Homicides peaked in 91 at 479, with a murder rate of approximately 80 per 100,000 residents. Total crime rates, including violent and property crimes, were also elevated during this period, with violent crime rates often exceeding 1,500 per 100,000 residents. So then it declined from the 2000s up until 2012. And let's see, the homicide rate reached a historic low of 13.9 per 100,000 residents, or 88 murders. And overall crime rates dropped significantly due to improved policing strategies and community programs and economic improvements. So they obviously did away with all that, didn't they? I mean, if they didn't, then why did the crime go back up again? So total crime incidents fell to around 37,400 by 2017 compared to 42,000 in the mid-2000s. So from 2020 to 23, there was a resurgence in crime during COVID, And homicides went back up to 274 in the year 23. Let's see, a rate 45.9 per 100,000. Crime rose by 39% in those 2 years. Motor vehicle theft surged 6,809 vehicle thefts in just 1 year. Holy shit. Significant increase from pre-2020 levels. So, and total crime incidents in 2023 were around 34,369, up 33% from 22. And then the recent trends, so we're only talking from last year up until this, like halfway through this year, essentially. But since 23, crime rates have been declining. But that doesn't mean that it's a safe city. That just means that it's gone from apocalyptically insane to almost apocalyptically insane. So in 2024, total violent crime dropped by 35% from 2023, reaching a 30-year low, with homicides decreasing by 32% to 187. But look, dude, there's still 187 murders. I mean, what was it before? 88. So the historic low was 88 murders in 2012. All right. So 88 in 2012, and it dropped 32% all the way down to 187. So historically, it's still fucking high as hell, man. It just depends on how you frame it. But anyway, as of, robberies fell 39%. As of August of 25, year-to-date data shows a 7% reduction in overall crime compared to 2024, with violent crime down 26%, 12% drop in homicides, 28 decrease in robberies. Oh, down to 99. Okay. So, wait a minute. So I'm getting 187 here in 2024, right? Yeah, that's what I'm reading here. And then violent crime, or as of August of 2025. Oh, okay. This must be so far this year. All right. I got it. So as of August of this year, so for the last 8 months, the city of Washington, D.C. has had 99 homicides so far. So, I mean, if they crack down hard enough, it might just stay at 99 for the rest of the year. That'd be really nice. But still, as of now, as of August, we still have, September, October, November, December. Technically, we still have most of this month, too. So we really have the better part of 5 months left. And this number of this year, of 2025, it's already higher than it was in 2012. So, anyway, property crimes have also decreased by 2%. Motor vehicle thefts are still elevated, with 2,817 reported by August. So that's, again, just so far this year. So that's going to go up, unless they crack down hard enough. But the long-term perspective, compared to peak crime years of the early 90s, the overall crime rate in 2025 is significantly lower. For example, projected total crime for 25 is around 18,308 incidents, less than half of the 46,600 incidents in 2021, and far below the 80s and 90s highs. However, certain crimes like vehicle theft, they remain higher than pre-2020 levels, and some neighborhoods continue to face elevated crime rates. So, see, it could also be localized to particular neighborhoods too. So, yeah, anyway, and then that's just a summary. So, let's see, what is the Washington, D.C. crime rate compared to other major cities in America? So, we got comparisons with other nations' capitals around the world, but DC's overall crime rate was 52.05 per 1,000 residents, higher than many major U.S. cities. Its violent crime rate, 10.47 per 1,000, exceeds cities like New York City and Los Angeles and even fucking Chicago. DC crime is worse than Chicago. Chirac. It's worse than Chirac. But it's lower than Detroit, at least, and St. Louis. That's crazy, man. St. Louis is even worse than Chicago. DC's property crime rate is also high for motor vehicle theft, which we just read. Data shows that it's dropping, yada, yada. So we got the gist of that one. So how does Washington, D.C.'s crime rate compare with the national average? Short answer. So overall crime rate, 52.05 per 1,000, is significantly higher than the national average, which is only 23.5 per 1,000. That's the national average. So it's more than double. More than double. Oh, but the Democrats will say, no, it's like so far down. It's like super down. It's down like 35%. It's the lowest in like 30 years. Again, just depends on how you frame it. Still a violent city. So the violent crime rate is 10.47 per 1,000, which we saw up there, but it still exceeded the national average of only 4. So again, more than double. And its property crime rate, 41 per 1,000, is more than double than the national average, which is only 19.5. So it's more than double across the board. The violent crime But see, in 2025, the crime has dropped, with violent crime down 26% and overall crime down 7% year to date. Maybe all the criminals have just Trump derangement syndrome, and it's just Trump getting into office just ran them all off. All right, so despite the recent drop in DC crime, is it still one of the most dangerous cities in America? Short answer. Despite the 2025 drop in crime, violent crime down 26%, overall crime down 7% year to date. Now, it's only down 7% year to date. But anyway, Washington, D.C. remains among the more dangerous U.S. cities due to its 2024 violent crime rate, which exceeds the national average and is higher than cities like New York or Los Angeles. However, it ranks below cities like Detroit and St. Louis. So that's all I got for that. So those are the crime numbers that we're looking at in D.C. according to Grok. I know some people, they love Grok. Other people, they absolutely hate Grok. I don't know. It seems relatively reliable for me. Although when you tell it to give you a short answer, it doesn't seem to cite sources like it did for this one. Well, actually, with this one, it did give me that short answer, 14 posts and 20 web pages. So you can click on that, and it'll show you where it's pulling all this data from. Newsweek, the Global Statistics Newsweek, so that's left-leaning, I think. Times Now News, Fox 5 DC, that's got to be left-leaning. Sure it is. mpdc.dc.gov, crimedatadc.com, WTOP, probably progressive, Neighborhood Scout, Crime Grade, and so on and so on. So it's pulling the data from where it's getting it from those sources. So all right, so let's head back over and see what's next here. So real quick, House Republicans making DC great again. Law and order. God willing. Hey, check this out. This is from Homeland Security. We can return. This is a view from the Hotel Continental, Washington, D.C. back in 1943. Check that out. That's cool. It's very cool. There's U.S. Capitol. It's empty, man. Just sprawling. I'm assuming that it's all piled up with buildings around here at this point. Or is it still that wide open today? I don't think it is. I think there's a lot that they've added over the years. But yeah, very cool, man. 1943. Blast from the past. All right, so now we're going to start getting into some Gavin Newsom stuff. So Donald Trump, it's time to call Greg Abbott and tell him to stand down. You are not entitled to 5 congressional seats. Now, this isn't related to the D.C. thing. This is related to the gerrymandering in Texas. He's all pissed off about it. So if you do not call your lapdogs off, California will act quickly and swiftly. We will go to the ballot. We will neutralize whatever gains you make. We will not stand by while you light democracy on fire. Now, remember, California, they have, maybe I should ask Grok this just to get the actual numbers, but here, actually, let me do that real quick because I don't want to just throw out random numbers. So oh, I got caps lock on. Uh-oh. You can tell I look at the keyboard when I type. All right, let's see. 54. All right, so how many of these are Republican? It's like 9, isn't it? Is it 9? 9, that's what I thought. So 9 are Republicans. Let's see. Oh, man, I hope it doesn't give me a convoluted answer. Okay, good. So approximately 38.3% of California voters chose Republican Trump, while 58% voted for Kamala Harris. What? I'm trying to get Trump out of this question here. Uh-oh. Oh, no, what the... Wait, what? Which response? Oh, come on now. 25... based on data from the California Secretary of State, which reports 5.7 million Republican voters out of 22.9. So about 25... Yeah, so a quarter. About 25%. So 9... Where is it at? 9 out of 54 are Republicans. Now, what percentage is that? I'm not very good with simple math, so yeah, that's 16%. That's disproportionate. That's not anywhere near 25%. So basically, Republicans in California, they only represent 16% of the population, despite the fact that 25% of Republicans are in California. So, yeah, or 16% of the seats in Congress are held by Republicans, despite the fact that 25% of the state are registered Republicans. And even a higher number ended up voting for Trump. What was it? 38.3% ended up voting red in the last presidential election, so damn near 40%. But again, only 16% are Republicans in Congress. So that's gerrymandering for you, I guess. So anyway, let's get back to Gavin Newsom, and let's see what he's got to say about this. Now, how much you want to bet he's going to flail his arms around? We're going to see his hands like going all over his face, like all in front of the camera. We're going to see his arms wailing around. I haven't seen it, but I'm just assuming.
Hey, President Trump, it's time to stand down. It's time to make another phone call to Greg Abbott. This time, instead of
he's such
calling
a tough
him and
guy.
telling him you're quote-unquote entitled to 5 congressional
there's
seats,
a hand.
It's time to tell
he's getting
him
handsy.
To stand down. It's time.
He can't help
to
himself. I'm telling you, it's hilarious.
Democracy is at risk. It's time to do the right thing. Actually, see how that feels for you doing the right thing. If you don't, California will neutralize anything you do in the state of Texas. California will continue to punch above its weight. We believe in democracy. We believe in the enduring values of our founding fathers. 249 years. We're not going to sit back passively. We're not going to sit back and watch you light democracy on fire. We will fight fire.
Yeah, bullshit, dude. So, and that's why you employed sanctuary cities. That's why you imported illegally tens of millions of illegal immigrants to flood your cities and just let them just occupy apartments that Americans are struggling to find and putting them on government benefits and Medicare, draining the benefits that American taxpayers have been paying into for their entire lives. You know, is that the democracy you're talking about? Also, you're fucking gerrymandering and all that shit? Yeah, okay, give me a break, dude. All right, so this is also from Newsome. Real Donald Trump, if you will not stand down, California will be forced to lead an effort to redraw our maps to offset the rigging of maps in red states. Oh, okay, so they're going to gerrymander California even more. So I guess next time we look at a map of California, it's just going to be all solid blue. There's not going to be a speck of red on the entire map. If the other states call off their redistricting efforts, we will do the same, and American democracy will be better for it. So I guess I'll read this for you. So this is the Office of the Governor, August 11th of 2025. This was from today. So President Donald Trump, he wrote a letter to him. This is hilarious. Calling off mid-decade redistricting efforts. Dear Mr. Like, dude, you do realize you're in California, right? You're not in fucking Texas, but whatever. I am writing, and I know this is small. It's X. I can't make it bigger. I wish I could. I've already tried doing this. I've already tried, like, copying the image and then opening it up in a different window, and it doesn't work. So, you know, I'm just going to have to just read it for you, and you're just going to have to trust me, I guess, unless you want to look this up for yourself. It's on Gavin Newsom's profile, so... Anyway, dear Mr. President, I am writing to ask you to call on the governor of Texas and other red states who are acting on your request to draw new congressional maps through an unprecedented mid-decade hyper-partisan gerrymander to rig the upcoming midterm elections to stop those efforts. You are playing with fire, risking the destabilization of our democracy while knowing that California can neutralize any gains you hope to make. This attempt to rig congressional maps to hold onto power before a single vote is cast in the 2026 election is an affront to American democracy. That's 2 democracies. Take another shot. This is not what the founders envisioned, and California cannot stand idly by as this power grab unfolds. I do not do this lightly, as I believe legislative district maps should be drawn by independent, citizen-led efforts as we have done in California for the last 2 decades. If you will not stand down, I will be forced to lead an effort to redraw the maps in California to offset the rigging of maps in red states. But if the other states call off their redistricting efforts, we will happily do the same. And American democracy, shot number 3, will be better for it. Sincerely, Gavin Democracy Newsome, Sacramento, California. Hey, do you want his phone number? Everybody give him a call. Nah, that's leftist tactics right there. Let's blow up his phone number and make it sound like that it's the entire state of California descending down on him, even though it's just like, you know, a few thousand people just repeatedly calling him over and over. That's a tactic the left does. All right, so I guess, I don't know, maybe we can read a few comments. I'm sure that'll be funny. Let's see what they're saying down here. There are many more red states that yield many more red districts than blue states. Why? Because blue states have been the masters of gerrymandering for decades. Red states have just started to learn to play your game in the last 5 to 10 years. Think and do the math. Oh, shit. Yeah, maybe that's what they're really afraid of. Maybe Republicans are finally sick of it, and they're finally about ready to start fighting fire with fire. I think the American people are waking up to which party has been cooking the lines and which party has not. Look at this. Massachusetts, 36% Republican, 0 seats. Connecticut, 42% Republican voters, 0 seats. Maine, 46 Republican, 0 seats. New Mexico, 46% Republican, 0 seats. This is fucking insane, man. New Hampshire, 48, 0 seats. Rhode Island, 42, 0 seats. Vermont, 0. Hawaii, 0. Delaware, 0. That is nuts, man. So we already saw that one, so we know that one's true at least. 20.9%. I mean, the number I got was 25%, though. But, you know, whatever. That's all right. So Illinois is 44% Republican, but only 3 out of 17 seats are held by Republicans. And New York, 7 out of 26. Maryland, 34% Republican, only 1 out of 8 seats. 46 in New Jersey. Damn near half of New Jersey is Republican, and they only have 25% of the seats. In Oregon, 41% Republican, only 1 of 6 seats. So when they keep saying democracy, 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 I guess they really mean it. It seems like the Republic doesn't even exist, unless you're talking the Senate, maybe the Senate DC. But down there on the state level in all these blue states, it don't exist, man. There is not adequate and fair representation at all. Why is it that if Republicans redistrict, it's a threat to democracy, but if Democrats redistrict, it's saving democracy itself? Dude, I'm reposting that shit. That was a banger. You have no power to stop what's coming for you. Look at you, commie, threatening your commander-in-chief. California will be red again. Yeah, probably will. If they keep doubling down like they've been doing. Doubling down, doubling down. I wish you would have stood down on filling them fire hydrants for our poor fire victims who lost everything. I haven't seen a pro-Newsome comment yet. American Psycho. Go ahead and try it. You're overestimating your support. You've already rigged the state. What are you going to do? Import seals and dolphins to vote? Yeah, I mean, they would if they could. I mean, although I can't remember how that saying went with regard to, I think it was AOC, how she won and how she's just an absolute idiot. And then somebody said that, you know, if a cold glass of water with a sticker of a D on it ran, it would win in New York. Like, that's how deep blue it is over there. Let's see. Gavin, you are seriously, and I mean seriously, retarded. Why don't you stop worrying about everything but your failing state? Californians deserve so much better. Yeah, they do. It just makes you wonder, why do they keep voting? Why do they keep voting for him? I don't understand it unless they really are rigging the election. They really could. Maybe in the real world, maybe California is like 65% voting Republican, and maybe we're just not getting real numbers. I don't know. I mean, hell, I'll believe, I don't know, just like nothing makes sense anymore, and almost anything is believable at this point. But, you know, that's how the left wants it. They want you to not even know which way's up, which way's down. They want you to be blinded in every single direction, so you don't even know what to believe anymore. Just believe us. We're the party of truth. There's no truth but power. This retard still parrying out democracy. Watch as Aaron Russo napalms that subversive leftist narrative. A republic, if you can keep it. Really? Is he talking to Newsome? A republic, if you can keep it. I don't know. I kind of hesitate on this. I don't know. Why not? We'll check it out.
If you ask 100 people on the street, what kind of government is America supposed to be? 99% of them will tell you a democracy. But that's a lie. The word democracy is not written into the Constitution at one time. It's not in the Bill of Rights. It's not in the Declaration of Independence.
We live in a republic, son.
The founding fathers hated the idea of a democracy.
A direct democracy, absolutely.
Form of government there is.
Why do you think the Senate exists?
Because in a democracy, 51% of the people control 49% of the people. If you're part of the 49%, you're not free.
No, you're not.
America was founded as a constitutional republic.
It was.
And in that constitutional republic,
equal representation.
99% of the people can't take away the rights of 1%. You have your rights because you were born with them. Human rights.
Amen.
That nobody can take away from you. The government, the majority, no matter who they are, I can't take away your rights. And that's what our founding fathers gave us. But the psychological operations that they do to us, they make us believe that we're a democracy and that majority rules.
Yep.
You see? And they want you to believe that.
The coastal elites.
This poll says this many want this and this many want that and this many want this, and it doesn't have anything to do with anything. You hear George Bush saying democracy means freedom. No. Democracy
New
equals
world
New
order.
World Order.
Amen.
Democracy
Absolutely.
equals slavery. The word democracy is not synonymous with freedom.
If you're not in the club, it's slavery.
It's the opposite of freedom. Democracy is the worst form of government you can have because it's majority rule. And the government can tell you exactly what they want to tell you to do because the majority wants it. I don't care what the majority wants. I live my life as I choose. And if I don't commit violence, theft, or fraud against another human being, I can live my life as I wish. That's my choice.
Yep.
And if I'm allowed to make mistakes, because when you make mistakes, you learn from them. You grow as a human being. We're put on this earth to become the best individuals we can be, right? We're not here to put on this earth so that the government can tell us how to live our lives and what we must do. We put into these systems and these paradigms. No.
Man, what a great clip from Aaron Russo. That was a great, great clip. All right. So we'll move on from this new scum nonsense. So I didn't get to the point where Trump mentioned this. So, but they actually, I think one of them actually mentions this. Hold on, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to start here with this one. So I'm going to play this of Trump talking about Russia invading Ukraine when they first started invading, and he makes a comment about that, and that brings the context into those other posts down below.
So ultimately, I'll have a meeting next week. I had a great relationship with him, considering the fact that, I was not nice to him because of the
Vladimir Putin
pipeline. I ended the pipeline. I also gave the javelins. Do you ever hear of a javelin? Javelin is called a tank buster. They say that
it's like
Obama gave them sheets and I gave them javelins. If it weren't for me, all those tanks that were destroyed at the first days of the war because the tanks got stuck in the mud, some commander made a better they would have been in Kiev in 4 hours going down the highway. But a Russian general made a brilliant decision to go through the farmland instead. And they just had torrential rains, and the rains were so bad, and it was mud, and those tanks got stuck in the mud. I don't know who that general is, but knowing Vladimir, he's probably not around any longer because all those tanks were stuck in the mud, and they went along with the javelins. I gave them the javelins. You know that, right? I gave them javelins. They gave them sheets.
Yeah, so there's pushback against this, and this is supposedly proof. They don't have the date stamp, time stamp, so there's really no way of actually knowing exactly when this footage occurred. So don't really know, but they're saying that, no, that's not true. They actually did use the highways for their tanks. However, I mean, he is the president. He knows a lot of information that we don't. So he probably is aware of at least, I don't know if it was maybe like one battalion or maybe there was a large group of tanks that decided to go through the farmland while another group of tanks maybe have taken the highway. I don't know. But here, we'll check this out. Let's see. Let me open or make this a little bit larger here. So Trump, the Russians would have been in Kiev in 4 hours. Meanwhile, the video of armored vehicle columns moving through the M01 highway, which were stopped and destroyed by the Ukrainian army. Again, we have no idea when this happened. This could have been 2 months ago for all we know. Tanks rolling down the highway.
Что? 6-й полк пока не могу доложить, пока собираю. Очень много потерь. Ждали. Голова колонны попала в засаду. Командир полка погиб. По остальным разбираюсь. Сейчас как разберешься, всех соберешь, мне доложишь, как понял. Оттуда били артиллерия, танки.
Damn, dude, they ripped up that ground. That looked like farmland. That's farmland. Uh-huh. What about all these tanks? I don't see a road there. I see a dirt trail. Looks like those might have been Trump's tanks. Or the tanks that Trump referred to. Maybe. Looks like the same footage. So we'll just skip that. Here's a video of Russian tanks moving through, quote, farmland, as Trump just claimed, on their way to Kiev instead of the direct highway route. It wasn't mud that stopped them, but very brave Ukrainians who refused to surrender their homes to the occupiers. And the Russians would have been in Kiev in 4 hours, so on and so forth. Same video we already saw. I wasn't aware at the time because they look different. You know what I mean? So at the time that when I was putting these together, I thought maybe those could have been different videos. But anyway, so that happened. And there was a little bit of pushback on social media with regard to Trump's statements about that. So I guess you can take it for what it is. Anyway, this is from Senator Dick Durbin. I think we're going to start here we're going to start getting into some of the Democrat responses to Trump's federal takeover of D.C. law enforcement. Donald Trump doesn't actually care about public safety in D.C. He cares about revenge against blue cities and states. Chaos isn't the answer. And we'll see if there's any pushback against this. So, oh yeah, well, I guess I responded first, or at least mine's up here at the top because I'm on my own account. But this is why Democrats are losing. They blindly double down without a second thought of logic or common sense. According to this guy, if you aren't a blind Democrat, you are the enemy and must be eliminated. You dumb fuckers aren't even laughable any longer. It's pathetic. Aren't you constructive and helpful? I guess you, like the current state of DC, a cesspool for the swamp. Hey, the swamp, it's the swamp. Both have to go. Make sure having the 4th highest murder rate is part of your defense of that city, yeah? You're right, which is why he's stopping the chaos that is every major Democrat-run city. Yup. Delusional Durbin. And, yep, getting roasted. Getting absolutely torched. You really do live up to your first name. Got him. Hey, dick. Chaos is exactly what DC currently has and what Trump is attempting to stop. Again, thank you for showing the rest of us Dems are pro-crime on the wrong side of yet another issue. Everybody should want safe cities, neighborhoods, and streets. Yeah, exactly. It's fucking common sense, man. I mean, conservatives, America First, Republicans, whatever buzzword you want to use to describe the right, they're on the side of logic and common sense these days, while the left, the progressives, the Democrats, I don't know, you can probably throw in psychopath in at this point, but they're on the side of hopes and feelings. That's it. They're just basing everything off emotions and what they want. And that's not how you can run a country, man. That's how you can run a country into the ground. That's how you can do it that way. All right, so let's go to the next one here from FBI Director Kash Patel. Give law enforcement the intel and resources they need, and they deliver. In just 1 month, 545 violent felons were taken off Virginia streets thanks to Governor Youngkin's partnership. So he makes a brief statement at the podium this morning.
And what they need, and let's get the red tape out of their way, and let's get DOJ partnered up with us to bring great prosecutions.
Hell yeah.
And that's exactly what we did. In 1 month, we arrested 545 violent felons. 545 in the state of Virginia, thanks to Governor Youngkin's partnership.
That's a lot. That is a lot of violent felons. Okay, so yeah, we're going to get into another one here. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, the man in the White House, wants to crack down on crime in D.C. Oh, that's cute. The audacity of sitting in the Oval Office with felony charges and thinking you can lecture anyone on law and order. Oh, she's pulling out the felony card. Trump's a felon. 34 felonies. This isn't about safety. It's about power, control, and distraction. If Trump cared about crime, he'd start by looking in the mirror. She got a lot of comments for that, though. I don't know if I replied to that one. No, I don't think I did. Anybody translate this from ghetto to English? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, we'll go past that one. Uh-oh. Yeah, this is X after all. It's getting it gets a little crazy in here, so I might have to, quickly skip that one. Hey, man, they put it there, not me. I'm just the observant here. STFU, you're a race-baiting hater. I hope you get voted out of office. If you actually believed in law and order, you wouldn't lie about felonies. Go back to Missouri. Yeah, we know Trump was set up. It was all a bunch of bullshit. Hey there, roundness in the front. Nobody. Okay, that one's a little spicy. You don't know crap about law and order. Your people knew how to behave themselves. Okay, yeah, that one's a little spicy. Yeah, they're a little ruthless in this string of comments. Oh man, dropping the C word. It is on fire and down here, man. More time clickbaiting, fake tips. All right. Yep, that's a bit hot and heavy. But if you want to go through that absolute evisceration of comments, then it's right there on her profile. You want to go check it out. All right, this is from Rep. Eli Crane. She's right. DC has been out of control for far too long. And this is from Libs of TikTok. ABC anchor breaks from the left-wing script and confirms how dangerous DC is. Here and down. Oh, well, it's a quote from the video. I'm just going to play the video. I got a bad habit of doing that. I need to quit doing that. Here,
we've been talking so much about the numbers. And yeah, usually that's how you play devil's advocate is you talk about, oh, well, stats say crime is down. However, I can tell you firsthand here in downtown D.C. where we work, right here around our bureau, just in the past 6 months, there were 2 people shot. 1 person died, literally 2 blocks down here from the bureau. It was within the last 2 years that I actually was jumped walking just 2 blocks down from here. And then just this morning, one of my coworkers said her car was stolen a block away from the bureau. So we can talk about the numbers going down, but crime is happening every single day because we're all experiencing it firsthand while working and living down here.
Wow, man, she did break from the script, didn't she? Hell yeah, Trump places D.C. police under federal control despite crime rates dropping. Look, if you live in a crime-ridden city and you own a car, it's not going to be completely theft-proof, but get a manual. Drive a manual. Get a stick shift. Because a lot of these younger folks, they don't know how to drive one. Matter of fact, they don't even know how to start one, which is funny. If you drive a manual, then you know what I'm talking about, or if you've driven one or you know how to drive one. And if you don't know how to drive one, it's not as easy to start. It's not just simply turning the key. You got to do more than that to start the car. And a lot of these young folks probably have no clue how to even start one, let alone how to drive one. So, anyway, yeah, I don't know. All right, so from... Oh, wait, no, that's a little too big. All right, so here's another one from Congresswoman Sarah McBride, another Democrat. Donald Trump continues his pitiful and dangerous performance as an authoritarian wannabe. Crime in D.C. is at a 30-year low, but Trump is hell-bent on abusing his power to politicize local law enforcement, undermining trust, progress, and public safety. If only he mustered a fraction of his urgency in stopping the very insurrection in D.C. Uh-oh, she's pulling the insurrection card. He incited instead of pardoning the violent criminals involved. I think I did reply to this one because, you know, like my position on January 6th is just like probably anybody else's with common sense, that it was completely orchestrated. It was all completely set up because the Democrats, they've got a long, long list of rioting and looting and pillaging and setting fires and burning down police precincts and all kinds of shit. I mean, we've got plenty of examples to point to with violence coming from the left. But when it comes to the right, nothing. Zero. There's nothing. Because Republicans, conservatives, we don't have time for all that shit. We're too busy working. You know, we got jobs to go to. We got lives to live. You know, we do shit the nonviolent way. But, I mean, you know, they don't want to awaken a sleeping giant, though. Because we are very well armed. So, number 30, or no 30-year low sources typical. Oh, okay, yeah, because she didn't cite any sources. That was what I was pointing to. And she didn't cite anything, but let's see. Feel if it's safe to... Why do you take late night stroll by yourself and report back to us? Yeah, good point. Yeah, go take a walk in the middle of D.C. at night. Tim, why did you... All right, yeah. It's funny you calling someone else a wannabe. All right. I know I don't want to get hung up in the comments too much because, you know, I'm getting a little close to my hour-and-a-half mark. All right, so we got another one here. D.C. This is from Congresswoman Ayanna Presley, another Democrat. 2 hours ago, D.C. is a vibrant, historically black community of residents who elected their own local leadership to guide their city. While Trump is using the military to sow fear and chaos into our communities, I stand with the residents of D.C. Hashtag hands off D.C. Yeah, but dude, we looked at the crime numbers. Depending on how you frame it, sure, you could say that it's looking at like a 30-year low with respect to some elements or others, but it's still more than twice as dangerous as any average city in the country. There's more crime there than friggin' Chicago, man. That blew my mind. So to try to frame it that way, I think that's kind of hilarious. Washington Post, President Trump once again capitulated crime in D.C. into the national conversation. Quote, it has become one of the most dangerous cities anywhere in the world, end quote, he said in a True Social post. Well, it's true. It is true. See, the district recorded a high level of robberies and carjackings. Oh, wait a minute. You see where it spikes here, right? Who was president when that happened? That was Joe Biden, wasn't it? I think Joe Biden was in office when that was happening right there. I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Donald Trump took over in 2025 in January. That is in this universe, right? I mean, I'm not imagining things. All right, whatever. So, all right, we'll just skip past the comments for this one. And we'll go up to this one here from Rep. Don Beyer, another Democrat. Quote, Donald Trump has personally incited more crime in Washington, D.C. than perhaps anyone else living. He pardoned the violent criminals who attacked our Capitol on January 6th and put it back in American communities. And I think this is the one that I commented with regard to January 6th. But maybe not. Maybe I didn't. No, must not. That's one of my favorite pictures of President Trump. I love that picture. It was a good picture. And yeah, they can call it whatever, a photo op, whatever. But this happened on June 1st. Y'all remember this on June 1st of 2020 when the leftist mob stormed D.C. by over, a couple thousand of them. And they were successful in breaking down one of the sections of the wrought iron fence that goes around the White House, to the point where President Trump on this day had to go into the bunker underneath the White House because the leftist mob was getting so out of hand, to the point where they almost burned down St. John's Church, which is one of the oldest churches in the country. And it's the church that who was it? Thomas Jefferson or one of the founding fathers or one of the first presidents actually attended this church on a regular basis. So yeah, absolutely crazy. So I can only imagine what nonsense that they're talking about. But new National Capital Region delegation statement on Trump's police actions in the District of Columbia. It's a lot to read. Let me see. So National Capital Region delegation statement on Trump's police actions in the District of Columbia. Oh, okay. So it's just Democrats just talking shit, basically. Crime in our nation's capital is at historic lows today. Of course, again, it's how you frame it. It's still a hell of a dangerous city, and it should be the safest city in the country. Of course, Democrats will come up with any reason as to why it shouldn't be, or why they don't really care about that. But like we've said, nation leaders come here, and other politicians from other countries and ambassadors and all these people come to visit here to do business on behalf of their country, and they have to go into our nation's capital, which is extremely dangerous. And that's really fucked up. It should be the safest city in the whole country, because it should be that shining example of how America operates internally, but nope, it's anything but that. All right, so this is from Nick Sordor. Breaking: the president of the DC Police Union, president of the DC Police Union, has come out in full support of President Trump's takeover of the police department. Quote, "We completely agree with the president that the crime in the District of Columbia is out of control and something needs to be done. The fact that we need help from federal law enforcement and maybe even the National Guard should not as a surprise."
President Trump
I read it again, didn't I?
deploying the National Guard to the nation's capital and placing police under
that's
federal
quiet. Let me
control
crank it up.
now. Let's bring in DC Police Union Chairman Gregory Pemberton. Thank you so much, sir, for
DC
being here.
Police
So
Union
from
Chairman.
your view, is this necessary?
Fuck yeah!
Well, look, we completely agree with the president that crime in the District of Columbia is out of control and something needs to be done with it.
But it's so
we have to
low.
go back to how we got here, though. In 2020, the D.C. City Council passed an enormous amount of legislation that handcuff police officers, exposes them to administrative, civil, and even criminal liability, even when they do their jobs properly. And now, 5 years later, our authorized sworn strength is 4,000 sworn police officers. We currently have 3,180. So we have more than 800 vacancies for the position of police officer. And the way the department makes up for that gap is through 2 million hours of mandatory overtime every year. What? So the fact that we need help from federal law enforcement and maybe even the National Guard, it shouldn't come as a surprise. And we agree with that. I think one of the issues here, though, is that we all know that's going to be temporary. So in order to fix this problem and make sure that it doesn't ebb and flow, and that the feds come in and we lower crime and then they leave and we're left holding the bag, it's very important that people know that there is underlying legislation that needs to be corrected so that we can actually properly staff this police department in order to properly police the city.
It's going out with the damn cash register. We already saw that. Well, that's good. I mean, that's good that he actually supports it, because it wouldn't have surprised me in the least if the president of the DC Police Union came out and said that, oh, Donald Trump's a tyrant. He's an evil tyrant, dictator, orange man bad. All right, so this is from Rep. Mark VC, and another Democrat, of course, but this is not related to the DC crime problem. He just posted this an hour ago, and right before I started the show, I came across this like 2 minutes after he posted this. So I want to look into this just for a minute, because I'm just now here. I just heard about this only from him. I actually didn't have time to look it up before I started the show, but it says, "I'm horrified by the tragic shooting in Austin that claimed the lives of 3 innocent people. My prayers are with the families and friends mourning their loved ones. Tonight we grieve for our fellow Texans and stand united with the people of Austin on this somber night." So again, I didn't know that there was they consider that a mass shooting, don't they? Isn't that technically a mass shooting when there's 3 or more involved? I mean, most mass shootings statistically in the country are family related, if I'm not mistaken. So, but we'll see. We'll see if there's something. 3 killed in Austin. I'll just go straight to NBC. I won't be biased. I'll go with this one. So 3 people were killed on Monday afternoon in a shooting outside a Target store. All right, so they got a clip here, so I'll play that too. And the suspect was arrested after stealing a car and fleeing the scene in Austin. Police responded to a shooting at 2:15 p.m., and officers found 3 people who had been shot in the parking lot. The shooting happened outside the store. The suspect, identified as a 32-year-old male, stole the car from the scene and fled. He crashed the car and then stole another vehicle before he was arrested. See, if that happened in LA, they would have had helicopters all over him. This is a very sad day for Austin, the chief said. One of the victims who was shot is believed to be the driver of the vehicle that was stolen. And the suspect, who was not identified at a news conference, does have a mental health history. Great. So then how the hell did he get a hold of a gun? Not supposed to have guns if you got a mental health issue. The motive in the shooting is under investigation. The suspect was arrested in South Austin by officers who used a stun gun. Oh my God, dude. I can't believe they didn't just light him up, you know? The identities of the victims were not immediately released. 2 were pronounced dead on the scene, and the 3rd was taken to a hospital and then died. So Robert Luckritz, chief of Austin Travis County EMS, said 1 person was treated at the scene for unrelated injuries. Austin Mayor Kirk Watson expressed his condolences to the families of the victims. This is a devastating situation. Cowardly act of gun violence. Of course, they have to throw in the gun violence. I am grateful for the quick response of our APD officers and other first responders and want to thank them for their actions to apprehend the suspect. So that is awful, man. Yep, just happened this afternoon in Austin. Let's take a look at this and see. Oh, they muted it.
Where we have learned in literally the last, now, let's get to some other breaking news right now, this time out of Texas, where we have learned in literally the last maybe 3 minutes that 3 people are now dead, shot and killed at the parking lot of this Target store in Austin. Officials have just wrapped up an update, and that is what we've learned. We initially thought 2 people had been killed. That number is now 3. We're learning a bit more about the suspect as well, who I believe is now in custody. Aaron Gilchrist will check me on that as he's covering this one for us. Do we know anything else about this suspected attacker, about a motive, et cetera?
So, Hallie, at this point, nothing about a motive, but a wild scene played out in Austin just a little while ago. As you said, this news conference with the police department there just wrapped up in the last couple of minutes here, and we've been able to learn a few details about how this all unfolded. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a little after that, local time in Austin, Texas, when police say someone with a gun went into the parking lot at this Target store and started shooting. We know that there were at least 3 people who were shot and killed in this incident. Apparently, the suspect here then jumped into a car and took off from the scene there in Austin outside this Target store. At some point, wrecked the car that he had taken and then went into a car dealership and took one of the cars from the dealership and was eventually caught by police in Austin. As you said, there is a 32-year-old white male suspect who is in custody right now. Police say that there were 2 people who died on the scene there. 1 person, according to the fire department, was taken to a nearby hospital and was pronounced dead at the hospital as well. At this point, we don't know about the motive. That is really, Hallie, the outstanding question right now. Police say that the suspect they have in custody is someone they know, someone who has had some interaction with law enforcement in the past, someone who does have a history of mental health issues as well. They're still trying to figure out exactly, though, what led up to this. Police said they don't know if there had been some sort of a confrontation, some sort of conflict in that parking lot, but they're trying to figure that out now and come up with what led to this shooting, Hallie.
Yeah, sure
Aaron Gilchrist, much to follow on that front.
I mean, if you live in Texas or you live in the Austin area, if you hear any updates on that, drop it in the comments, because there's just so much stuff that happens on a daily basis, and I don't follow local news, local issues. I just happened to catch that because I follow a ton of the Congress members, and he happened to post that right before I started. So that's awful, man. That's terrible news. So, all right, so I'm going to head back down to where I said I was originally going to start. I think that was where we started, was it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay, so moving on to this week at DHS. For the first time in 50 years, the United States will experience a net decline in migration to this country. Promises made, promises kept. And look, I think immigration is overall a good thing, especially merit-based. If we have sectors in our country with regard to employment or careers. For instance, if we have a shortage of doctors, I'm not saying we do, but if we had a shortage of doctors, I think it would be great if we had an immigration system that would reach out to areas of the world. Anybody who's a renowned doctor who wants to uproot themselves, their family, and move over to the U.S., I think that would be a perfect system. And if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of how it used to work for a while, at least. You know, a merit-based immigration system. Or I don't know if they ever did it by lottery or anything like that. Like if you're just some everyday, just average working person and you want to immigrate to the U.S. I don't know the details about our historical immigration system, but I mean, I'm not crazy about them closing it altogether. I think that if you've got something, if you've got skills, if you've got talents, and if you can help make America better in any way, if it's something like being a doctor or even like a skilled plumber or something, I mean, I think we should absolutely welcome those people. But anyway, I'm sure he's referring to illegal immigration, at least I would assume, but I don't know. We'll hear.
This is Micah Bach.
Oh my God, holy shit, I'm so sorry.
Land security. And under the leadership of Secretary Nome, we are
rest in peace here, buds. Holy shit.
Restoring our heritage and reclaiming our
I am very
sovereignty from the catastrophic failures of the Biden administration. This week, Secretary Nome visited the Coast Guard cutter Mohawk to honor 235 years of unparalleled service and to announce a historic $25 billion investment to fortify our Coast Guard in that mission. In an address to the Fraternal Order of Police, Secretary Nome made it abundantly clear.
I see the Coast Guard all the time. I live here in Tampa Bay. They're always flying over my house.
President's leadership. In Chicago, Secretary Nome joined ICE's frontline agents to highlight the removal of heinous criminals from our country. America will no longer be a safe haven for the criminal refuse of the third world.
Hell
They're
yeah.
going home, and we will have our country.
Get them home. Get them out of here.
Love your country and are able to serve. ICE is offering $50,000 in signing bonuses, as well as student loan
That is
relief
a lot.
and no age restrictions for patriots willing to answer the call.
What?
Go
No
to
shit? Oh, you see, they're showing the white hair guy. So even if you're an old man.
And this week, the Department of Homeland Security
Dude, I might want to give him a call.
the next iteration of Alligator Alcatraz in my home state of Indiana. This new facility, known as the Speedway Slammer, has thousands of criminal illegal aliens.
Wow.
Deportation. They're
I was
our
born in
country,
Indianapolis.
and they will not
That's
come
interesting.
back. Under the leadership of Secretary Nome,
Open up a new
2025 marks
facility.
a seismic shift, negative net migration. More non-citizens are leaving our country than are entering. President Trump vowed to end this invasion, and together with Secretary Nome, we are delivering with uncompromising resolve, securing the American way of life for American citizens, period. We'll see you next.
All right, yeah. Way to go. Good news. Good news overall. All right, so this is from Rapid Response 47. Speaking of which, from the Visalia Times Delta, Tulare Advance Register. All right. ICE is encouraging tips from the public, and they even dropped their phone number here, 1-866-DHS-2-ICE, if you have any tips that you want to give them. I know with some of the criminals, I'm not sure if they have a list. I'm sure they have a list somewhere. Okay, so that's just a form to fill out if you have information on somebody. But they've got most wanted lists on, again, I'm not sure if it's on Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Obviously, the FBI has a list, but that's not the list I'm talking about. If you go to ICE's X page, they've got tons and tons of people that they're apprehending, and sometimes they'll say that a reward was offered, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of criminal illegals out there that they've got rewards or bounties on their head. And yeah, if you're looking to make some money, you got a talent for bounty hunting. I mean, it's booming right now. Anyway, so let's size this back up. So from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE Homeland Security and Investigations agents were out late into the night, this is 9 hours ago, with our federal partners making D.C. safe again. Drugs off the streets, firearms removed, criminals held accountable. When a city fails, we will answer the call. Obviously, the press conference, DC Crime, that is the story of the day. And it was kind of dotted up and down my bookmarks list for today. But there's one image of them out there. Another one. Got a couple of the bad guys. So there you have it. And I'm sure they're going to keep doing what they do best in D.C. So this is interesting. Rep. Mike Collins, on this day in history in 1934, the nation's most dangerous criminals arrived in Alcatraz. It converted into a maximum security federal penitentiary in 1934. Alcatraz held notorious criminals such as Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, and Robert Stroud, the Birdman of Alcatraz. The prison became infamous for escape attempts, most notably the 1962 breakout of Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, which inspired the film Escape from Alcatraz. Due to high maintenance costs, Alcatraz closed in 1963 after housing 1,500 inmates in its 29-year run. So it was a pretty small prison. It didn't have a whole lot, but I did actually comment to this, and I mentioned Attu Island. So check this out. Alcatraz should be inspiration for building a criminal illegal immigrant prison on Attu Island, the largest uninhabited island owned by the United States in Alaska. Better yet, high-cost escape proofing wouldn't be necessary. There's literally nowhere to escape. That's where it's at. Attu Island is right there. But that's the largest uninhabited island we have. It's something like 30 square miles or something like that. It's a pretty big island. So all I'm saying, I don't know. I'm sure it'd be very expensive. Plus, I'm pretty sure there's not an airstrip there, so I don't even know if the island would even be that capable of even operating as a prison. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. Not sure. So this is from Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs. Accessing reproductive health data without the user's consent happens all the time by data brokers, police, and other bad actors. That's why we need a federal standard like the My Body, My Data Act to end this. All right. Meta illegally collected Flow users' menstrual data, jury rules. Dude, Meta collects everything. People put everything on Facebook. It collects insane amounts of shit. I mean, I heard somebody, I think it might have been Tim Pool who said this. He swears that Facebook knows every time you go to the bathroom because your phone sits idle, and it's connected by GPS, and GPS is extremely accurate. So technically, if they really wanted to run this whole like study of like people going to the bathroom or something like that, like they would have the ability to do so. Yeah, because I'm sure Facebook probably tracks your every single movement, every inch that you move your phone. It's keeping track of that because you willingly give all that data to them. By using their app, you consent to their terms of service and their agreement and using all your data. And that they do, man. They use tons and tons of data, or they collect tons of data on everybody, but that's common knowledge at this point. But anyway, like, what I thought about this was the fact that there's the HIPAA laws, the HIPAA Act of, what was it, 1996. And yeah, I mean, that should include reproductive health data. It's health data. So yeah, I mean, in that instance, she is right. You're not allowed to collect people's personal health data without their consent. Which I wouldn't be surprised if in Meta's terms and conditions, I'm sure there might be something buried on page 762 or whatever. This includes any kind of health data that you might disclose on your profile or whatever. I don't know. What do I know? All right. So this is from Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's 0.011% of my district. Now stop breaking the law and register under Foreign Agents Registration Act 22. U.S. Code S611-62. Do not enter my local office because you are not registered under FARA. I only work for the American people. My job title is representative in the U.S. House of Representatives. And she's talking about foreign lobbying. This is posted on her door. No foreign lobbying. If you enter this office seeking funds on behalf of a foreign nation, you may be in violation of 2020 or of 22 U.S. Code. Foreign Agents Registration Act. America first. Oh, yeah, she was replying. So she was replying to AIPAC. 5 million U.S. citizens, including more than 9,000 of Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene's own constituents, are AIPAC members. We are unapologetically patriotic Americans who advocate for an alliance that makes the United States safer, stronger, and more. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. All right, anyway, so this is from J.D. Vance, next president. 2025, or 2028, J.D. Vance 2028. So Vance calls the Trump-Elon split just a cooling off period, and he's urging the tech genius to be all in by the midterms. They're not texting buddies right now, Vance admits, but Elon was a critical force last time, and we need him again. So he quotes Elon, "If you're patriotic and not stabbing the president in the back, disagreements don't matter. We win when the whole movement stands together." So we'll check this out. Just a little clip here.
He's obviously got a complicated relationship right now with the Trump White House. Though my argument to Elon is, like, you're not going to be on the left, right? Even if you wanted to be, and he doesn't, they're not going to have you back. That ship has sailed. And so yeah. I really think it's a mistake for him to try to break from the president. So my hope is that by the time of the midterms, he's kind of come back into the fold. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. My call hopefully right now about anything.
Really?
I'm sure.
I hope JD Vance is in his good graces.
My call, but obviously the drama around him and him in the White House over the last couple of months. Again, my hope is that just kind of cools down a little bit because he did help us a lot in the election. The president even says all his frustration, Elon was a very, very critical part of the team last election, and so my hope is by the midterms things are kind of back to normal.
Right.
Yeah.
That would
we'll
be
see.
nice.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was going to ask that question. Now I don't have
well,
to.
That's right. You know, knock on wood. I'm always, my attitude is I try to be sort of pretty Big Ten about this stuff. Like if you're patriotic, you're not trying to stick your knife in the back of the president. You're not trying to betray the movement. I don't care about these like minor little disagreements and issues. We have to kind of win with the whole movement together. And that's kind of the attitude that I try to take.
Yeah, I mean, but Elon, he's talking about starting a whole different political party. And I don't think he's talking about America First. Maybe he is, but I don't think he really is. He's been advocating for a new political party. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully he is on good terms with JD Vance because everybody seems to be under the belief that JD Vance is not only going to run for president in 2028, but he's going to win the nomination as vice presidents who run typically do. So anyway, this is the last one I got. So Senator John Hickenlooper, Republicans promised to help working Americans, then wiped out the investments that make electricity more affordable and support millions of American jobs. Abandoning our booming clean energy economy won't bring us closer to energy independence, which I think it's ridiculous for them to want the entire country to run on batteries in the first place with wind and solar. It's very counterproductive. Is China doing that? Is China building tons of solar panels and wind turbines, and that's how they're planning on powering their country? Of course not. No, they're building literally dozens of massive coal power plants right now under construction, and that's in addition to God knows how many there are already. They've probably got over 100 of them. So yeah, I just think that's kind of a ridiculous statement. But anyway, so I said you're trying to run America on batteries while China has over 30 massive coal power plants under construction. You can't win the AI, EV, and tech race on batteries. It's a joke and a scam. Trump unleashed nuclear power again, and it's about damn time. Yep, I stand by my statement. So that's all I got. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you are so inclined to do so, I would so much appreciate it. It would really mean a lot to me if you subscribe. It's a brand new channel, so trying to get it off the ground. And anyway, I'll drop a new show every evening covering the swamp and everyone living in it, the politicians, the bureaucrats, the agencies, and everything else. I also post daily episodes to my account, so feel free to comment over there too if you'd like. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great night, and God bless America.